income, which is actually mandated by the lease, and all you're talking about is the mandated rent payment. And there is a provision of the proposed lease, percentage rent difference, where, and I would again question GSA's judgment in how they calculate this, but that we are supposed to receive an additional amount of money if the property is profitable. And according to these, the only released monthly statements that were leaked or intentionally put out by a public-spirited employee at GSA, it began to be profitable in February 2017. So, Mr. Matthews, last year, all you're quoting to us is the rent payment. What was the additional amount paid to the GSA under the terms of the lease out of the profits of the Trump Hotel?
Thank you for the question.
It's a simple question. Just give me the number.
So I actually need to correct something. The profit sharing is not based on profits. It's based on gross revenues.
Okay, good.
And those gross revenues are reported.
Okay, so what was the amount? I'm asking you a simple question. We do not have that number. You've not provided us that number. What additional payments were made to the government last year under this lease beyond the mandated rent? How much?
We receive, and the way it's structured is it's based on gross revenues with a minimum payment of approximately $3 million and a maximum payment. It's a percentage of the gross revenues.
3% more, up to 3%.
It escalates every
Okay,
decade.
all right. So how much did we receive last year over and above the mandated rent?
As I testified, we received the approximately $3 million base rent.
So, okay, so all we got was the base rent. So you're saying this hotel is losing money?
I'm not saying.
No one's staying there? There's no gross revenues? There's no sharing? It's not beyond the lease? The rent? Okay. So you're telling us that. Do you believe it's legitimate for this committee? You worked this committee for a long time.
Yes, I did.
Do you believe we have oversight responsibility?
Yes, I do.
Good. Now, then why can't we get anything except redacted monthly statements? How do we know, and you can't give me a number, that we're getting the additional payments that are required under the lease if you won't give us any financials? Will you give us the financial statements?
So,
will you give us yes or no?
So our goal.
Yes or no?
Our goal is to.
Yes or no?
Our goal.
Yes or no? Okay, you're not going to answer that question. Okay. You were asked earlier about so you're not going to provide those. How about doing an audit? You do audits of leases, is that correct? Yes or no?
We receive an annual audited financial statement.
Who audits it?
It's a third party, and we receive an annual.
Okay, did you choose the third party?
Excuse me?
Who chose the third party?
The tenant provides the
Good.
audited financial statement.
Okay. So you don't feel you have any responsibility to check into that, or the contracting officer doesn't? And to oversee. To the IG, would you conduct an audit of this hotel to see whether or not the income which is required over and above the base rent is being properly paid to the taxpayers of the United States of America?
Actually, GSA has specific authority under the lease to conduct such an audit.
Well, he just said they won't do it.
The focus of that audit would be on determining whether the government is getting the appropriate rent payments.
Yes.
We'd have to think about that. We certainly have oversight authority over the payment issue. We'd have to think carefully about the resources that it would take to do such an audit and any constraints on our ability to get the records independently of GSA. We'd have to think about whether it made sense for GSA to ask us to do that audit or to have an outside auditor with expertise.
But GSA has the authority. GSA has done this for other leases, I would assume. Have you? Have you ever audited a lease? GSA ever audited a lease, or do we let all of our tenants just send us their own financials and send us their own legal, after they've hired an accountant?
I don't know offhand if we've audited other leases, but
Okay.
we do receive certified financial statements.
Right, okay, so since you received them,
They,
how much additional money beyond the base rent did we get last year, did the taxpayers of the United States of America get last year under the terms of this lease? What was that number?
We just received the base rent.
Okay, so somehow you've calculated that, you know, within this whole purview, there's no one staying there, there's no revenues over and above.
Well, again, we receive certified annual financial statements that tell us what the gross revenue is, and we know that we are receiving the proper amount of rent.
Okay, I thank the gentleman.